Okay, what we have here is a 12-foot rigid style pack rack container, and the old roof you can see below has been torn off and removed. Also, all the bolts and side pieces have been removed. We have 3 sheets of 1/2 inch plywood or OSB. They do not need to be treated. You can get those from any hardware store. And then we have 1x4. I have 2 pieces of 12-foot 1x4 and 2 pieces of 8-foot 1x4. And we'll use those to fasten around the edges against the 2-inch tubing all the way around. This edge has already been secured with a 1x4 strip. I use the 12-foot strips on the long sides, and you buy 8-foot 1x4s for the end caps, and you should not have to do any cutting. If you have to do any cutting, it'll be minimal. And you're going to secure each one of these 1x4s using the self-drilling screws that you see here. I would recommend getting the 2.5 inch and also the 2-inch self-drilling screws. They're the same ones we use on our current floors, and you can use the shorter 2-inch ones on the roofs to fasten the OSB down on the 2-inch tubing. You can use the longer 2.5 inch on the edges. You're actually going to need the longer 2.5 inch on the edges for it to go through the tin as well as the 2-inch tubing. And don't overdo it with too many screws. I would just put 1 screw about every 3 feet. And then on the tops, you're going to put 1 screw at each corner. Make sure to secure it to the 2-inch tubing underneath. And then you're going to use 1 extra screw halfway between the edges or the corners of the OSB boards. Once you finish that, you're going to want to go back with some of the seal-fast tape that we currently have available, and you're going to tape that down along the seam between the edges of the plywood so it doesn't pinch the TPO on top. And also you want to go ahead and do the corners with some of the seal-fast tape to try to help make these edges not so rough on the TPO. Once you've put that stuff down, the last part is going to be to use a glue for the TPO, which you can get from ABC Supply. And what they'll sell you is this Sure Weld TPO bonding adhesive. There's the part number. You can get that in 5-gallon pails. You can get right there at ABC Supply anytime. You're going to put out 1 gallon of the adhesive across the whole top of the container. And what I did was I just went to the hardware store and got some of these 1-gallon buckets, pour that out, and then use one of these rollers. Just get the cheap stuff so you can throw it away when you're done. Just use one of these rollers to roll out your glue. Let it dry for 10 or 15 minutes at the most. Just let it dry to become nice and tacky. And then you roll out this TPO, which comes in the 10 by 100 foot rolls. You roll that out over the top, and you walk across all of it to make sure it has a secure bond with the roof. And then once you finish, you fold the TPO over on all the edges, and you want to secure the edges with this piece. It's called a termination bar, and you get these from ABC also. So what you're going to do is you're going to secure these termination bars just along the bottom of the 1x4s, and then after you finish that, you secure those with just typical screws that we have at the shop. You can use some of these guys that you already have, or you can go pick up some wood screws if you want. Make sure that they're either stainless or galvanized so that they won't rust in the rain. And then the last thing you do is after you finish, you're going to have some leftover TPO underneath the terminating strips, and you take just a regular box cutter and cut right along the bottom of the 1x4 to get rid of any excess TPO. that's pretty much it. You can certainly call me if you have any questions, but that's pretty much the end of it. And I'll take a couple of pictures and send along in the video following of a finished top.